Hello friends, this is Jay Hendricks with Powerful Thought Daily. Today, as a fellow student with you, I wanted to talk with you about finding the middle path, or treading the middle path. So the middle path is the balanced point between a duality. So if we look out at the world, there's dualities everywhere. Two sides in politics a lot of the time, or many sides in politics. Many sides to everything. And you go up and down in your emotions, you go up and down in your thoughts. It's just a big ocean of waves all around us. And so, when we're focused on this duality, we are tossed to and fro, as the scriptures say. So, the middle path is finding that balanced point between dualities. Now, an atom is a good representation of this because there's a balanced point in the center and potential around that point. Who knows if that's actually what they are, but mathematically and scientifically, that's the model they've come up with. So, there's, in essence, points of stillness and perfect balance of which all motion hinges off of. So you can see this in magnetism. You can see this, at our Earth's core. The very center of the Earth is perfectly still, and then everything around it rotates and moves around. So all motion, all emotion, everything is always moving around points of stillness. And you are a point of stillness, and I am a point of stillness. So, treading the middle path is finding that point of stillness that you are and surfing through all of these dualities. So, practically speaking, if you look at politics, there's, oftentimes there's the majority is two sides, or there's many other kinds of politics, but you want to take the best of all of them and combine them into the truth. The truth is somewhere in the middle. That's why negotiation is so important in human relations, because negotiation is the act of getting more at the center, little by little, by little, by little. So, treading the middle path. It's like surfing, it's like riding a bike, it's like driving. So, when you're surfing or riding a bike, if you remember when you first learned how to ride a bike, it was hard because it's almost like you were trying to force the bike to stay up. But then for a lot of us, it clicked that it was almost like we raised in consciousness for a second and were aware of a higher balance state that we weren't aware of before. And now we're able to stay on the bike, and it can go anywhere it wants, but we could still stay in balance. It can react to the environment, but we're still up. Or you can drive down the road and have that play to where you're staying in the center. I mean, when you're driving a car, if you just keep it, if you are on the road, even if it's a perfectly straight road, and you just keep it as straight as possible, you're still going to veer off. You have to have that play in the wheel to where you're staying straight all the time. And any of you have surfed or snowboarded or longboarded or any of those types of activities, you can find that balance point to where you're staying up or riding a bike. Same thing with living daily life. When you see the mind and the emotions as matter, mental would be subtler matter that's harder to perceive. Emotions are a little bit coarser than that, and physical is even coarser than emotions. If you see all these as different grades of matter, you can begin to balance through them and surf them like a wave. So, an ideology is when you're stuck in a duality and you're focusing more on one side. So an ideological belief will only tell you half of the story. Truly religious belief includes both sides of the story. That's why the Bible is such a paradoxical document, because it tells both sides of the story. And when you combine those together, you can start to achieve this balance. So any dogmatists, any absolutists, any totalitarians who are stuck on one side more than the other, they're always going to be off balance. It's like a biker favoring always drifting to the left or drifting to the right. He's never going to be able to stay up. Or it's someone who's overly controlling and trying to force the bike to be in balance, when you just have to find that state of being to where I'm balanced and this bike is kind of hinging off of me. So, to oversimplify this for practical reasons, because that's kind of what happens when you make things practical, is it tends to oversimplify things and you lose some things. But in practicing it, you can start to learn the subtleties as well. So whenever I'm distilling things to practical ways of doing things, by practicing that and then not attaching to that, but then it's like a bike. Like, you bring the bike down from the abstract world and then you sit on it, and now you can balance on top of it. So you're not attached to the bike, you're using it as an instrument. So, Western thought and Eastern thought. Western thought seems to promote striving. To me, that's the main core message of Western thought, is to strive to get better, self-improvement, get your environment under control, all of these things. Probably more masculine than Eastern thought. Eastern thought could be a little more feminine. Eastern thought seems to promote surrendering. So, surrendering, non-attaching, not being caught in illusion, all these things. So striving and surrendering, those to me are the kind of the main core concepts of Eastern and Western thought. So in your daily life, if you can learn to simultaneously strive for the best and simultaneously surrender the hindrances that bubble up from that striving, you can use these two modes of being to balance through your day. So, in other words, you keep solving problems, and yet you're not attached to the results of your attempt at solving those problems, or you're not attached to even solving the problem. It's like we have to keep solving problems, and we're going to succeed and fail, but you can't be attached to succeeding or failing at the same time. So a lot of people are driven by winning, and even when they lose, that fuels them even more to keep striving to win. But you're going to be miserable doing that, so you have to detach from that and just keep striving while detaching from the results. So it's balancing these two ideas in everyday life. So as you practice your meditation daily, I would say, 10 to 30 minutes a day, and just try to do it. If you do it like 3 days in a row and then fail to do it, 2 or 3 days after, who cares? Just start again and keep doing it. Maybe do it for 4 days in a row this time, and then you get off, and then that's okay. And then you come back and then you do it for 5 days in a row. And you keep trying to strive, but you don't let the failure bug you. And, that's harder than, it's easier said than done, of course. It's a process. So, striving and surrendering. So, when you're striving, inevitably things are going to bubble up. It's going to, if you fail, that's going to cause you to feel insecure. It's going to cause you to feel fearful. It's going to cause you to feel anxious, depressed. futile, all of these things. It's gonna, maybe you fall off the bike and you get hurt, so you're gonna experience all the different grades of pain. Well, when you feel those things, you can learn. This is what I've learned. Whenever I fail, or whenever I start feeling bad, or whenever I start having negative thoughts, to me, that's when God or the universe, I'm not sure what, something, is seeking for you to give that up. So in the Bible, with Abraham, his whole life was to have a son or have a child. And finally, when he gets a son, God asks him to sacrifice his son. Now, you can look at that as, wow, that's barbaric. Wow, that's crazy. And it is. But I think the underlying truth of that is, don't be too attached to what you're striving for. And in the end, he doesn't actually sacrifice his son, but he was willing to. So being willing to give up the results. Strive, yet be willing to surrender the results. So, whenever you feel any hindrances, any negativity, any anxiety, any tightness in your chest or in your arms or in your throat, or just tightness and anxiousness, just know that you're being asked in that moment to give that up. And it's so important to find that Christ vibration that relaxes all things. It's basically just relaxation at very subtle levels. And when you can learn to identify these tightnesses in your being and relax them, like let's say you go and you're driving down the road and your car breaks down and you pull over, or you get a flat tire, and then you get that anger bubbling up, or you get that depression bubbling up. That's bubbling up, and that issue with the car happened in the universe for you to be aware of that now. So our lives are like, it's a school. So it bubbles these things up, and then you can learn to subtly relax all of those things as they're happening and give them back. Give back to God what He wants you to give, willingly. To face the pain, to bring attention to the pain full on, and then relax it and let it go. And as you do this, I'll get into this later, but as you do this, it literally has a change on your body. It literally upgrades your cells and atoms. It frees them and makes them progress and develop. It's crazy stuff, but it is, in my experience, true. Anyway, and then that would be the process of redeeming matter. So, just to sum it up, if you can practice your meditation and try to simultaneously strive and simultaneously surrender the results, and just stay on that bike and that play and find that balance point, just like riding a bike, then you will be treading the middle path. So subscribe. I'm Jay Hendricks. This is Powerful Thought Daily. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. Bye.